Welcome to RG Biology tutorial classes. So today we are going to learn about human digestive system. In this system, what are the topics we are going to cover for all kinds of competitive examinations? They are, first of all, in human digestive system, we are mainly studying about alimentary canal, and secondly associated digestive glands. Let me focus first topic, that is alimentary canal. So this alimentary canal length is 8 to 10 meters. So its average length is 8 to 10 meters, and occurrence of this alimentary canal from where to where? So it starts from mouth and ends with anus. From which part of germ layers it is derived? This alimentary canal derived from two important germ layers. One is ectoderm, second one is endoderm. What are the derivative structures of alimentary canal from ectoderm and endoderm? From ectoderm up to hard palate structures that are derived from the ectoderm. From soft palate to rectum, endodermal structures. So one more important structure is there. After rectum we find out anal canal and anus. These two structures also derived from the ectoderm. So alimentary canal derived from the two important germ layers. One is ectoderm, another one is endoderm. From this ectoderm, hard palate, before the hard palate, a kind of means mouth part, anterior part of mouth bears hard palate. So up to hard palate means the vestibule, teeth related structures, all these parts which are derived from the ectoderm. After hard palate, what is present? It means that is soft palate. We will discuss what is hard palate, what is soft palate. We will discuss while we are discussing about the buccal cavity or oral cavity. At that time, we will discuss detailed about this hard and soft palate. From the soft palate to rectum, these structures from the soft palate to rectum means esophagus is there, stomach is there, intestine is there, small intestine, large, all these structures which are derived from the endoderm. And after rectum we will find out anal canal and anus. These structures also ectodermal derivative parts. Okay, this is about the origin. Alimentary canal originated from the two important germ layers. These are all called as a germ layers. Alimentary canal. Next, alimentary canal broadly classified into four parts. They are, first one, mouth and oral or buccal cavity. This is the first part. Second part is esophagus. Then the third part is stomach. Fourth part is intestine. So this alimentary canal broadly classifying into four parts: mouth and oral or buccal cavity. Second portion is esophagus. Third portion is stomach. Fourth portion is intestine. So these are the parts. And intestine, in intestine, two more parts are there: small intestine and large intestine. In small intestine, three more parts we notice, namely duodenum, jejunum, ileum. And in large intestine also we find out three more parts, that is cecum, colon, lastly rectum. All these are the parts of small and large intestines which comes under one common part, that is called as intestine. So alimentary canal broadly classifying into four major parts. They are known as mouth and oral cavity or buccal cavity. Secondly, esophagus. Thirdly, stomach. Fourthly, intestine. In intestine, there are two more important regions are there: small intestine and large intestine. In small intestine, three more structures are present. They are duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. And the large intestine included with cecum, colon, and rectum. We will discuss all the parts of this alimentary canal next classes or coming classes. Before we are going to discussing about all these parts or the four major parts of this gut, the wall of alimentary canal bearing certain types of certain important structures. There are four important layers that are noticed in wall of alimentary canal. What are the structures? Where, what kind of muscles are present in it? What kind of cells are there? What kind of fluxes are noticed? All this information we are going to firstly in this alimentary canal section of view. Let me focus on sectional view of alimentary canal. This alimentary canal or gut wall, this is also called as a gut wall. Gut wall or wall of alimentary canal. Wall of alimentary canal. So this complete information, gut wall components or wall of alimentary canal components. So this is briefly called as a histology of gut wall or gastrointestinal tract, GIT. Histology of gastrointestinal tract or alimentary canal. These are the points we are going to learn one by one. I mean, what are the components that are noticed in alimentary canal? Let me focus one by one. The outermost, I mean, the alimentary canal wall composed with four important layers. First layer is serosa. This is the serosa, or this is also called as a visceral peritoneum. Second layer we called as, the second layer of gut wall is muscularis. The third layer is submucosa, and the fourth layer is mucosa. So serosa, muscularis, submucosa, mucosa. These are the four layers that are noticed in wall of alimentary canal or gastrointestinal tract. Let me focus on this serosa, muscularis and mucosa, submucosa. Where these layers are noticed in alimentary canal, I will discuss all this information right now. So this is the outermost layer. This is the outermost layer. So in generally, it is noticed in two different variations. So it means in esophagus, secondly rest of alimentary canal. In esophagus, this serosa forms are composed with fibrous connective tissue. Fibrous connective tissue. It is not a play role in visceral part. So it is just composed with fibrous connective tissue. That's why this esophagus covering serosa layer in generally we called as a adventitia externa. Adventitia externa. So this is the very important bit for serosa layer that is present in the esophagus, that is commonly called as a adventitia externa. So next, visceral peritoneum. So rest of alimentary canal from the stomach to up to rectum part, it is made up of with, it acts like as a visceral peritoneal layer. It is a covering portion for alimentary canal. So rest of the alimentary canal is mainly covered by this serosa layer. It means this serosa layer is occupied with it is noticed in coelomic part. That's why it is called as a visceral part, visceral peritoneum. So that rest of the alimentary canal is occupied with this serosa layer that is purely noticed in the coelomic part. Hence it is termed as a visceral peritoneal layer. So in esophagus, it is composed with a fibrous connective tissue, and moreover, it is not related to the coelomic part. Hence, it is called as a adventitia externa. So that is about serosa or visceral peritoneum. The next one is muscularis. This muscularis is mainly having with two important structures. Two important some more layer. Outer longitudinal layer and inner circular layer. Outer longitudinal layer and inner circular layers are noticed. These two layers are noticed the entire alimentary canal, whereas in stomach one more layer is present, that is called as a oblique muscularis. Oblique muscularis is noticed, it is a third type of layer. It is noticed only in stomach, not anywhere of the intestine. So it is noticed only in, this is also very important bit. So oblique muscularis only noticed in the stomach portion. Rest of the alimentary canal is occupied with two kinds of layers. Muscularis composed with two kinds of layers, outer longitudinal muscularis and inner circularis muscularis. So simply we have written like a layer. So outer longitudinal muscularis and inner circular muscularis. So in between these two layers, we find out an important structure that we call it as a Auerbach flexus or myenteric flexus. Auerbach flexus or Meyenteric flexus. What is mean by this? What are R-black flexus or meyenteric flexus? A parasympathetic nerve fibers or a parasympathetic nerve cells that are located in between the outer longitudinal muscularis and inner circular muscularis. So that structures, I mean parasympathetic. So these flexes are nothing but parasympathetic nerve cells or nerve cells and nerve fibers. Nerve cells and nerve fibers that are noticed in this spot. And the functional role of this one is in general we all of you know about that the alimentary canal shows in a peristalsis movement. The peristalsis movement that is under control of this R-back flexus. So main functional role is R-back flexus mainly involving into controlling of peristalsis movement. So this is about R-back flexus functional. Next, submucosal layer. So serosa completed, muscularis also completed. Next one is submucosa. Submucosa is richly supplied with loose connective tissue, number of blood capillaries, nerve cells like sympathetic nerve cells and nerve fibers also noticed. Sympathetic nerve cells and nerve fibers also noticed. Because of the presence of these sympathetic nerve cells and nerve fibers, we find out one more important flexus that we call it as a Meissner flexus or submucosal flexus. Meissner flexus or submucosal flexus. Then what is the functional role of this flexus? This flexus playing an important role in controls the secretions of gastrointestinal juice, means succus intricus. So it controls intestinal juice, secretion of intestinal juice. So it controls the secretions of intestinal juice. This is commonly called as the succus intricus, like that. So in muscularis we find out R-back flexus or meyenteric flexus. In submucosa we find out Meissner's flexus or submucosal flexus. R-back flexus mainly involves in peristalsis movement of gut, and submucosal plexus or Meissner flexus playing an important role in controls the secretions of intestinal juice. So that is about submucosa. The last one is mucosa. So it is very much closer to the lumen of alimentary canal. So it is very much associated to the lumen of alimentary canal. So it is again comprised with three important structures that are mucosal muscularis, secondly lamina propria, the thirdly epithelial lining. this mucosal muscularis, again here muscularis we find out outer longitudinal, inner circular, same kind of muscles we are noticed here. Outer longitudinal muscles are noticed and inner circular muscles are noticed in this. Inner circular in this mucosal muscularis. Lamina propria is again richly supplied with especially a numerous number of connective tissue structures are there. So in this an important structure is noticed that is called as a malt, which is related to lymphoid tissues. Malt means mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. So the lamina propria bears loose connective tissue. There we find out numerous number of blood capillaries along with that lymphoid nodes or lymphatic glands or ducts, etc. Lymphatic capillaries. All these are comes under connective tissue. So because of the presence of the lymphatic tissues or lymphatic nodes or lymphatic capillaries, this lamina propria is highly or richly present of with malt, mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. So this tissue playing an important role in immunity. Then the lastly, epithelial lining. So this epithelial lining develops. In stomach. It develops gastric glands. In this epithelial lining in stomach, it develops gastric glands. Where gastric glands, like there are three important glands are there: cardiac glands, fundic glands, and pyloric glands. There are three important gastric glands that are developed by the epithelial lining of mucosa in the stomach portion. Whereas in the small intestine part, it develops villi and intestinal glands. So you know that villi, microvilli, finger-like projections. This villi is also noticed here, but the functional role is very much predominantly noticed in the part of small intestine. So epithelial lining makes villi in small intestine along with the intestinal glands. What are the intestinal glands? Crypts of Lieberkühn and Brunner's gland. These are the two types of glands that are developed by this the epithelial lining of mucosa. So this is about histology of alimentary canal or gut wall. So okay, understand about this? Thank you.